Have you ever wondered why we call some writings literature and others just text? And what makes a poem timeless but a news report forgettable by tomorrow? It's not about beauty or skill, it's about imagination, the strange shifting ideas of what it means to write, to read, and to think. Let's travel back to the origin of the word itself. So, Raymond Williams, uh, greatest thinker of culture, reminds us that literature is actually a pretty young word, and it originally meant anything written. A medical manual, a literature, a legal document, a literature. But in the 19th century, something changed. The word began to mean something deep and something closer to what poetry used to meant. It came to signify works of the imagination, writing that wasn't just about life, it felt like life. This transformation wasn't random, it came with the Industrial Revolution, when printing presses ran on steam and the books flooded the world like never before. A new middle class emerged, people who finally had the time and means to read, and they didn't want manuals or summon, they wanted stories. So literature became the name of a special kind of writing, not just ink on paper, but imagination turned into art. It represented culture, identity, and the dream of the people. And yet, its meaning kept evolving, as all living words do. But the moment people began to live literature, others began to ask, how should we read? That's the question gave birth to the literary criticism. Criticism isn't just opinion, it's reading with evidence. Looking at a text, a style, setting, it's a social, cultural echoes. It's connecting your thought with the centuries of others who have read before you. So, a good critic doesn't just tell you about what a poem means, but how it creates the meaning. Criticism can be as simple as a personal reflection or as a complex as a scholarly theory. From Aristotle's Poetics to Virginia Woolf's essays, critics have always asked the same question: what makes writing work? And then comes literary theory, the deep ocean of ideas beneath the surface. If criticism is the act of reading, theory is the philosophy of reading. A theory is a system, a map that helps us make sense of what we experience. It's our way of fighting chaos. So, thinkers like Hobbes and Locke spoke of wit and judgment in art. Kant described aesthetic judgment, the beauty that has purpose without purpose. Wordsworth, in his preface to Lyrical Ballad, gave us the romantic idea of poetry as a emotion recollected in tranquility. Each of these thinkers was not only a poet or philosopher but a theorist. They were building frameworks to understand why we feel what we feel when we read. In simple terms, theory explains, criticism applies. One creates the compass and other follows it. So when you analyze a novel through class struggle, you are doing Marxist criticism based on Marxist theory. The theory provides the lens and the criticism looks through it. But here's the irony: theories tries to order the world and literature keeps on escaping those orders. Every reader brings a private world of experience. Every poem opens a new window in the house of meaning. We are all, in the same way, in some ways, theorists and critics. Every time we fall in love with a line, a question, a character, or argue with a book, we are doing both. Literature, criticism, and theory are not enemies, they are trilogy: imagination, interpretation, and reflection. Each needs the other to survive, and together they reminds us that reading is not a passive art or act. It's a dialogue across centuries, across minds, and across the grand line of thoughts. So thank you for listening to the grand lines of thought. I'm your host Gopal Mandal. If these words stirred something in you, curiosity, uh, maybe reflection, or maybe a little wonder, share it and subscribe to the channel for more, because thinking deeply is not an escape from the world, it is the way we live in it and we understand it. Thank you for today. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.